This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by legendary Cutman Stitch Duran here in New York. Stitch, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Got over my jet lag coming back from Dubai, so I'm good to go.
How was Dubai?
Unbelievable. Yeah, I've been all over the world. I've done a lot of great things with a lot of good people, but, the standards that they gave us were unlike any place I've ever been before, and everybody was so nice and so cordial, and had a good event. Badu Jack won in the second round. That was really the main course, but we were supported 100%.
I mean, Badu's obviously had a frustrating time with the bout with John Pascal falling through due to, I think it was four drugs that he tested positive for. But when they were scheduled to rematch a few months ago, so just to see him back out and being victorious and with being a part of that team must have been a lot to you on a personal note as well.
It is, yeah, and you're right. Just to see him back in the action and under the circumstances, because he's gotten so much better working with Jonathan Banks, and have fights canceled, and for reasons that shouldn't be. For him to come back and have a fight like this was good for him. It's good for his spirit. Good for the whole team.
And then coming on to this week, the reason we're here in New York, we have another great lightweight fight between Vasyl Lomachenko and Richard Commey. You've been drafted in, Stitch. Firstly, just for yourself, who are you working with this weekend?
Well, Top Rank brings us in, so I'll find out tomorrow, but I know for sure as a continued time I've been working with Jared Anderson, I'll be working with him, and Xander. And then, I'll go by into the dressing rooms or into the weigh-in tomorrow, go to each team. And see if they have a Cutman. If they don't have a Cutman, then we could offer our services. Top Rank handles all the costs and everything, and they need their hands wrapped. We offer them that too, gauze and tape. So Top Rank brings that to the table ever since we did the COVID, and now it's been a successful program for them. So they're continuing to using it, and to me it makes sense, Andy, because a lot of guys don't have good cutmen. A lot of guys are young trainers or trainers that don't really know the system. So we're here to educate as well.
I mean, Stitch, especially say if you was to wrap the hands of somebody who's only maybe 2-0, just making their way in the sport, to have somebody like yourself who's been around for so many years, who's regarded as one of the best, on a personal note for them, I imagine it means a little bit more.
It does, and that's the whole thing that, one of the things we as Cutman bring to the table is not only wrapping hands and working cuts, but the psychological advantage that you get. And I've had guys that, just like you said, oh man, Stitch, you're wrapping my hands, I can't believe it, and take pictures and they post them and all that. And to me, it makes me feel good but here's what I tell the guys. I said, look, the reason I'm doing it, and I don't even charge these young guys, how can you? Right? I said, the reason I'm doing it is that you understand what's the proper way that you should be taken care of, not only in your hands, your cuts, but also as a team. So I try to educate everybody.
Just with the main event, Stitch, what do you make of it? Vasyl Lomachenko, I'm sure, he's heading into this fight as a favourite, and I'm sure he'll want to look good and he'll want to impress on the back of a couple of weeks of shocks and good performances across the division. Just want to get your thoughts on that main event between Vasyl and Richard.
I'm not good with odds and all that. I'm not good with giving predictions because we're all armchair quarterbacks and anything like that. But anything could happen. You got two skillful guys that are going at it. Styles make fights. I know Lomachenko, when he fought Lopez the last time, he just got off to a slow start. So I think going forward today is how aggressive is he going to be.
Obviously, on the back of, like we say, we've had Tank on Sunday, we saw Devin Haney on Saturday, who you worked with. The week before, we saw that huge shock with George Kambosos defeating Teofimo Lopez. How much more aware do you feel this makes a fighter's mind, having seen what happened with Lopez Kambosos heading into their own fight, what you'd have seen with Devin heading into the Jojo Diaz fight, Tank with Cruz? How much more mentally prepared does it make them to make sure that they don't slip up?
Yeah, I agree. You got three guys that are batting 1,000, right, in baseball terminology, and he's going to have to perform. So, yeah, I'm sure that's something that, he puts in the back of his mind. But first and foremost is to go out there and get the job done at the highest level.
Obviously, last weekend, to touch on Devin Haney, the man who's working with defending his WBC world title against Jojo Diaz. Was you happy working in the corner there, Stitch? Was you happy with what you saw?
Yeah, you know what? Devin Haney is such a quiet kid, and but he could fight. I always said that it's the second time I've worked with him, and he could fight. How he would do against somebody like Jojo Diaz was something I had to wait and see. And one thing that he did say, as Andre Ward said when he took a shot from Kovalev, same thing with Devin Haney. He says, people said I couldn't take a good shot. I could take a good shot.
Because it was probably more entertaining than what fans thought, how much more of a better position do you feel Devin's put himself in to potentially secure that George Kambosos fight? Because George said whoever he faces next, he not only wants it to be in Australia, but it's whoever impresses him the most, whoever entertains him the most. And Devin can certainly put in an argument that he did entertain the past weekend.
Yeah, you look at that style of fighter, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, maybe, right? The rematch of the younger generation. I agree, and Kambosos has the right to choose where and when. And I think he's earned that title. Devin Haney, God, that's a hell of a fight, man. Put that together. You're looking at the hawk and the hair. Is the hawk going to be able to catch the hair, or is the hair going to take off? So,
what did you make of George's win against Teofimo only a couple of weeks ago?
I thought it was impressive, and one thing I got to give him credit for, and I contacted the team, Mike Vasyl and Javier and Peter Kahn, on the importance of having a good corner. That was an excellent corner that they needed at the time when you had such a big fight right there. Tremendous corner. They all did the job that they were supposed to, and as Mike Vasyl said, like say he works with me here with Top Rank, we always sit down with new fighters and we'll go over the program. What's your job? What's my job? So we get all that organized, and Mike Vasyl and them did that as a team, and when the, chips are down, they produced.
I know you've just had a brief catch-up there with Teofimo in the hotel lobby here. Did he have much to say?
No, I think he's kind of enjoying himself, and, probably boxing is the last thing on his mind. He looked handsome with a tuxedo, so I could understand that.
And obviously, just to move away from that and on to not necessarily heavyweight talk just yet, but light heavyweight talk, or somebody we know who's boxed in the light heavyweight division and would have been challenging up at cruiserweight, Tommy Fury. You was hoping or waiting to see if he was going to get the call to work in his corner for the Jake Paul fight, and now Tommy's had to pull out through injury. I just wanted to get your take on us not seeing that, and now instead we'll see Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley too.
Yeah, actually, Sugar Hill called me, and I had spoken to Tim Alcock and talked about, possibly working with him, and I was waiting for the confirmation it was going to happen, right? And then to find out that, he broke his ribs and kind of put that one in the back burner now. So we'll see what happens. But Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley, wasn't as dramatic. It kind of, you blow the candle out and still the little smoke coming up. That's about where that fight's at right now.
And then obviously just moving up to the heavyweight division, your man Tyson Fury has finally seen his bout with Dillian Whyte ordered by the WBC. There was a lot of talk as to whether that would go ahead, or maybe if AJ would step aside so then Tyson could face Usyk. You would imagine that the Fury-Whyte fight would happen next if it does do so. Have you spoken to Tyson at all recently about what's going on?
No, I've just been reading it, right? But I always get that call when it's time to get that call, right? And so I just kind of sit back and see what's going on. But, yeah, hey, listen, I'll go anywhere with this guy. I just like working with him. The whole team, they're just fun people to work with, and yeah, he's such a character. And those are the kind of people I like working with. So, yeah, when the time comes, they got my number, they'll give me a call.
I mean, provided Fury-Whyte does go ahead, you'd like to think it would happen in the UK. It's a big heavyweight fight between two Brits. Excited to travel over there, travel back. I don't think, when was the last time he was over there? Was it Klitschko, Joshua?
It was. The last time was Klitschko and Joshua, but yeah, I've been to the UK many times. And yeah, of course, I look forward to doing that. But personally, I think, the next two fights for Tyson Fury will be in the UK. Where else are you going to fight, him and White and maybe him and Joshua, they have to happen in the UK, but it's fine with me.
What do you make of the Dillian Whyte fight, Stitch?
It's good. I don't know. I don't know much about Dillian Whyte, so I can't tell you much about him. But just to work with Tyson Fury, who cares? Who he fights.
What would be your preference, provided Tyson was to come through Dillian Whyte successfully, Stitch? The AJ fight or the Alexander Usyk fight?
Oh, no, I think AJ. I'd love to see that fight. Both these guys beat Vladimir Klitschko, right? So I have to be on the winning side of one of them at least, right? So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I'd love to see that fight. I think, the boxing community wants to see that fight. Usyk, not taking nothing away from Usyk. Usyk is always there, but I think, AJ and Tyson Fury have earned the stripes to be calling each other out and having a fight in the UK.
And Stitch, just final one, as you know, whenever we catch up, I like to kind of see what's the latest with Creed. Creed 3 now. What is going on? What can you let me in on with regards to filming and the behind the scenes stuff that we don't get to see?
Yeah, I've been in contact with them. In fact, I got a contact today with one of the assistants. But it looks like they're going to start filming in January, middle of January. I'll be there in February. I think I got 4 weeks worth of filming. I saw Michael B. Jordan and Nicholas Stern when we did a Top Rank show in Atlanta, I think like 3 weeks ago. And Mike saying, it's going to be a fun movie, and I have no doubt. But I'll give you a little behind-the-scenes scoop, right? So when we did the show in Atlanta, I invited the team, Top Rank and I invited the team, Michael and them, to come to the fights, and they did. But at the weigh-ins, Nicholas Stern, the executive producer I was telling you about, and some of the other members from the film were there at the weigh-ins, and I introduced them to Mike Vasyl, the other Cutman that we work with here. Well, Brittany, the assistant, called me or sent me a text that they're interested in Mike Vasyl also being a Cutman in the movie. So Mike's in the UK right now working with Chris Algeria. Called him last night about 2 in the morning and let him know asked him if he was interested in being in Creed 3. So you might be able to see him there too.
Oh, mate, it's great to hear. Pair of you will potentially and hopefully be working together in Creed 3. I will let you go now, though, Stitch. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your evening. It's a pleasure to catch up with you as always, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thank you for speaking to me in Boxing Social.
Oh, no, thank you. I know, but let me just add to that. Yeah, in the other Creed movie, Creed 2, the Cutman that worked for Drago's son, is another Cutman I use, and he'll be here tomorrow. So I got on both jobs, and at Creed they want realistic. And they got Paul Querido for the Russian, and you got Mike Vasyl here working with Creed 3.
Well, Stitch, good luck with filming when that does take place. Great to hear. Obviously, the team coming together to work together on the show as well. So I appreciate your time, and thanks for speaking to me in Boxing Social.
Hey, and then maybe we got to get you as the commentator, right?
I'm more than happy to do that, Stitch. If you can sort that out, I'm going to leave that in your hands. Well, thank you.
I'll be your agent per se, right? All right, let's do it.
Cheers, Stitch.
All right, my pleasure. Thanks.